Welcome to the Ram Network, where the fun never takes a rest. Oh yeah! Sports, pop culture, wrestling too. We got it all with the very best. Tune into the filter-free podcast for the latest in entertainment news. TNA Top 10 will make you laugh with their hilarious views.
Welcome back. Wrestlemania Night 1 is history, and you are on live with the Ram Network post-game show. I'm Palm Water Dave. I'm joined by the TNA Top 10, T-Weave, and Andrew, and the First Lady of the Arn Anderson Fan Club, Miss Amy Vaughn. How do we feel about WrestleMania Night 1, y'all?
I liked it. I thought it was a good show.
I didn't think there were any holes in it. I don't think there was anything unnecessarily over the top. And the final shot, which we'll get to, mirrored the final shot we saw at the end of last year's show. So good program for me. Good event anyway.
Well, let me ask you, watching it on Peacock's different because we don't pay more than $10 a month for it. If you would have paid the traditional pay-per-view price, would you have had buyer's remorse for this show?
No.
How about? Go ahead, Terry.
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, have they, I guess they don't have, do they do a regular pay-per-view price for the 2-night thing now? I mean, how do they charge for that if you're not on?
They don't. I don't even believe that it's available on
I don't
pay-per-view
think
anymore.
it exists.
I think it's a straight. You have to go get it on the streaming.
Just assume it's $50 though, like AEW on Bleacher Report or what is it now? Fight, but it's not Fight. Triller. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was very good for night one. But I mean,
if you'd have paid $50 for this pay-per-view, would you have had buyer's remorse?
I'd wait till tomorrow to pay $50. Is I guess what
Got you. What about you, Amy?
I like what Terry's thinking. No, I don't think so. Like if this was a standalone pay-per-view one night, I don't think I'd have buyer's remorse. I thought it was really good. I think I would have been shocked, maybe in a sense, because like there was no really big moments. There wasn't a cash in. There wasn't, I mean, I feel like all the matches, except for the last one, I guess, had pretty much clean wins. There wasn't really any surprises in necessarily. I think if you go look at our prediction show, I'm pretty sure I got most of them. I think, Dave, you got them all right, I think, about who we thought would win. And even down to who we thought was going to pin who. So, I mean, there was not a lot of surprises. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, good thing. I'm just saying I feel like, I don't know if we're just accustomed to it or, of kind of like that, holy shit, Cody pinned the Rock, or, like that swerve of some sort.
Right.
I'm not necessarily saying it would have added or that something was lacking, but it was very good. But I feel like it was, right along with what we were kind of thinking would happen.
Well, Mike Whitaker right out of the gate wants to know, what was y'all's favorite part of the show? Amy, why don't you start with that one? What was your favorite?
I mean, I like the Gunther Sami Zayn match. I like the last match. I liked Cody, Seth versus The Rock and Roman, because I feel like there was a lot more intrigue with that, not knowing exactly how it was going to go because there were so many moving parts. And is Seth going to turn? Is this going to happen? Like, how is that going to work? So I enjoyed those two matches very much.
Andrew.
I would agree. Those are the two best matches of the night, hands down, the main event and the Intercontinental title match. However, to me, there wasn't a disappointing match on this show. I didn't particularly care for the finish to the Intercontinental title match. Jade Cargill is a star, as we all knew going into this, and they made her at Mania. It's important to establish your stars early because now the calendar starts all over Monday, and they did that with her. I think that was very well done. I think the women's match was extremely competitive between Becky and Rhea, but Rhea is the future. She is the brand. She is the WWE. And there was one other thing. The ladder match was fine, but car crashes really aren't my thing. And it's a lot of guys, eight wrestlers or 10 wrestlers. That's a lot of guys on the TV or on the television all at once. But I I thought it was a great show with very little holes in it. And the other thing is, it was very simple, very basic. Rather than I think what Amy, I think we think the same thing. We always try to outsmart ourselves as wrestling fans, predicting what big swerve's going to happen. And this one really didn't have a lot of swerves. I think Sami Zayn beating Gunther was the swerve of the night, honestly. Even though you guys predicted it, I mean, Gunther had held the Intercontinental title for so long, and Sammy finally got him. So, all in all, I would have paid $50 for it. I thought it was a great show, and those were my favorite parts of the show. But I really am looking forward to this new mentality. And again, we talked about it during the watch along, Dave. WWE is under new management. While Paul Levesque may be Vince McMahon's son-in-law, they are not the same people. And that is very, very apparent in the way that they produce and write professional wrestling, because that's what we saw tonight was not sports entertainment. It was professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hearing some feedback, and I don't know if that's my microphone or not,
hear
so
it.
I apologize.
Yeah.
That was me tapping, and my microphone was picking it up.
Okay. Sorry about that. But anyway,
I was trying to
bottom
type
line is-
lightly, but this microphone picks up every little thing.
if you're like me, you don't type lightly. I'm very heavy-handed, like the Kermit the Frog. So,
Well, for me, Gunther, I thought Gunther Sammy was the match tonight. R-Truth holding the tag belts up with him and the Miz on top of the ladder was the feel-good moment of the night. I can't really say much about the women's 6-man, except for the entrances. Jade's a star.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the entrance on that. But I do think that it's hard to top Sammy and Gunther. I'm interested to see what's next. I think there was a lot of groundwork laid in this show. The main event did what it was supposed to do.
Yep.
It's made the mountain that much higher for Cody tomorrow night. I liked that The Rock did not bury the referee. He told you, you're not going to count. So instead of the referee going out and having to go get him to cover so he's not buried, because they're going to be out of the ring for more than a 10 count, The Rock told him, if you count, I'm going to fire you. I'm The Rock and I'm not to be fucked with. And I liked it because, I mean, he took time. He was working with the third man in the ring on that.
Mm-hmm.
They did things that could have got them disqualified, but threatening the referee with his job, yanking the referee. Really, really, really liked that part of it. But that match just set up the story that needed to be told for tomorrow. Now Seth's out there on a bad will.
Mm-hmm.
Like Drew McIntyre told him. So Seth's going to be out there on a bad will. So that's building some drama for tomorrow. Cody's behind the 8 ball. That's some drama for tomorrow. I think it was well laid out. I think that they had a good pace to it.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel like a 4-hour show to me.
Mm-mm.
I
That
really thought
Usos match seemed
it
like it
was-
went quick.
yes,
Honestly.
I was really surprised. It was a 4-hour show. Honestly, with Jimmy and Jay, Mike Witters wanting to know our thoughts. I thought that was a match that could have been on Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah, not really a highlight match for me. The brother versus brother angle doesn't really do it for me. Jey Uso's the star in that equation. And that's pretty much what they said tonight when they let him get the clean pinfall. You didn't see Solo, you didn't see shenanigans. It was a clean pinfall over his brother, and it's fun because they both wanted to have a match at WrestleMania against each other, so it works. But let's move on now. Let's move away from that and move Jay where you're going to move him, no matter what that looks like. And then, of course, you're going to continue the bloodline more than likely with Jimmy.
Whoops. Let me remove that. Wrong night. Let's get into it. Let's take it match by match. Of course, Dragon Lee was not in the match. It was Rey Mysterio with Andrade El Idolo versus Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio. I thought it was a good match. I like the ending. Like, who are those guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the ending on that. Who are those guys? With the reveal, I don't know who one of them was because I'm not a Philadelphia fan, but I did know who Travis Kelce was. And
I really didn't see how huge they were until they got in the ring with everybody else.
right.
And you could tell they were just giant.
Yeah. And I've been in the ring with Andrade before, so I know how big Andrade is. When they slammed Dom into the ring post, he ate that ring post. Dominic is he's come so far. I think that they've done a great job developing Dominic Mysterio from where he started to where he is now. I mean, they went really heavy on his character while he was getting good in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just, he's just something else. And I hope he continues to develop. I mean,
I thought it was.
I don't say this
weird.
because I think that it's really his father, but I hope that Dom gets on that Eddie Guerrero level.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're seeing a diamond in the rough with Dominic Mysterio, honestly.
Well, I thought it was. I don't know. I thought it was kind of weird that they had the two football players come out during this match. That's just me. Like, I guess because they could put a mask on, but like there was nothing prior to. What'd you say? One of them worked out with the other, Lance Johnson, whoever that guy was.
He worked out with Seth Rollins. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, so not even anybody in this match. So these two guys, yes, they're from Philadelphia.
Weightlifting,
like,
yeah.
What in the world was a reason to bring them into the ring during this match?
Because they're from Philadelphia, and it's Travis Kelce, and he's probably the greatest center football's ever seen.
But why this match is their question, not why bring them in.
Well, no, why bring them in? Like, it just did. They were. I mean, if they would have shown them last week or even last night on SmackDown, like, oh, high five, we're excited for y'all. Like, there was just no reason except for a pop.
It was a celebrity run-in for the crowd.
Yeah, you're popping the hometown crowd. That's why you did it.
Yeah, but that just shows what kind of thought process they had about this match. They're not going to let do you think they would have run in during the 6-man, like any other match, like the tag team or the ladder match, or Gunther and Sammy? No, because they had more, not respect, but they had higher hopes. They saw those matches as doing better and bigger things. So they didn't, I don't want to say they didn't care about this match, but
I will. It was a throwaway match on the pay-per-view that really didn't need to be belong there, other than two of your bigger stars, the Mysterios, not Escobar. Andrade, I think Dave's right. He's a Triple H guy. They're going to push him to the moon.
Right.
But no, I mean, if you're going to have chaos when you've got 12 other guys, what's two more? That's the only logical thing that makes sense, because the LWO comes out, and of course, Escobar's faction comes out as well. So you already
Right.
have 10 guys around the ring, and then these 2 guys in masks show up, and you're not exactly sure what you're seeing. So
Right. I just would have liked, I mean, granted, I would have liked something, a high five with Rey Mysterio the night before or something to
Well,
at least
you don't get a run in for the good guys very often, so that was really different. Like immediately, I was thinking, who are these guys? And then I saw they were doing that to Dom,
right.
and I'm like, oh wow, look at
And
that,
they're
y'all.
wearing Wranglers and they got boots on. It's like, who
I
are
didn't
these
notice that,
people? I did.
but I mean, to me, it was like a throwback to the James gang, like Dusty and Magnum under masks.
Yeah.
I was wondering who are these going to be. We were trying, somebody even thought maybe Gallows and Anderson. I was watching it on I
Yeah,
was
just
hosting a watch
actually
party on AFS, and that's what everybody on the Zoom was thinking. Maybe it's Gallows and Anderson, and there was no tats, so they was like no. And but
trying
to
to think
me,
of a
when I saw them,
wrestler.
I knew it was not luchadors. I knew it was going to be. It just kind of it gave me that James gang feel, and I thought it
Hmm.
was fun for what it was.
Yeah, that would be the only thing I'd be picky on, but I don't really care. I mean, it's fine. Like I said,
Jared Wise said Jason Kelsey set the internet on fire at the Super Bowl after party by wearing a Lux mask. Kelsey plus mask is a whole deal there.
well, that's probably true.
So I
yeah,
mean, that was
he's
you just popping the hometown crowd. I mean, in
Yeah.
Dallas, we got the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders.
Mm, I'll take
first
Jason Kelsey.
first WrestleMania. You got Liberace, Billy Martin, and Muhammad Ali all in Madison Square
Oh,
Garden.
that I mean, Liberace when he was the timekeeper. I mean, he was the bell ringer. And when it
Yeah,
was time to ring the bell, he stood up with that little crystal dinner bell and dangled it.
right.
The dinner bell.
Just such good shit.
No, I agree. Like I said, if we were going to nitpick, that was the only thing. But like I said, I thought it was a really good card.
All right, let's go to the next match. We already talked about Gunther and Sami Zayn. I think we've all. What do you? Let's break out the pond water jar ratings for these.
Ooh.
Let's go back. How many?
How out of how many, buddy?
Yeah.
How
What
many?
is
How
your
many jars
scale?
you going to? How many jars you giving this match, Andrew? On a scale
What
of
is what
1
is
to
your
5.
scale? 1 to 5. Okay, 2.5.
Amy?
This match,
Yes.
I'll go with 2.5.
Terry?
I'll give it 3.
I'm with Terry. I really enjoyed it. It was a 3, so 3, 6, and 5 is 11 divided by 4. It's just a little under 3.
Mm-hmm.
So Gunther and Sami Zayn, I think we've already talked about how great we love this match. What do you think? I don't think Gunther should have lost. Honestly.
I don't either. I
It
don't
was
either.
not
I didn't like the finish.
I knew that the way that, and Sammy needed this. Sammy really needed this because his character floundered after they pulled him out of the bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, truthfully, Cody crashed Sammy's party. Sammy was primed to be in that spot against Roman. And that cooled him off. And I think he's kind of floundered around for a year. I think he needed this bad. Losing that match would have hurt him. My personal preference would have been for Gunther. I think Gunther. I said it. I've said it consistently that in my mind, Gunther should be the world heavyweight champion or the universal champion, and he should have had the intercontinental belt when he won it and vacated.
Mm.
Yeah, they
So
don't seem to do that as much these days. They'll get it off of somebody so they can go after somebody.
I don't
something
remember it
else.
ever happening in the WWE except for the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
I think that Sammy took a heck of a beating. So it wasn't like he came out there and just like, beat Gunther an inch of his life and then I think it was very realistic, and then Gunther, gets distracted by the wife and he's, messing and running his mouth to her instead of focusing on Sammy and beating him. I think that's a typical reason sometimes, like the bad guy loses. But I liked it. I mean, like I said, he was underneath pretty much the whole entire time. Yeah, I mean, they could have done that, but I guess they wanted to.
Drew Reviews agrees with me.
Yeah, they wanted to go a different direction, I guess. But I'd actually give this a 4. 4. I give it a 4 out of 5.
All right, Andrew.
4.5 because I hate the finish. Gunther's got him beat down, and all of a sudden, here comes a Superman comeback out of Sami Zayn, which we're going to see tomorrow night out of Cody Rhodes, and we're probably going to see out of Seth Rollins. And depending on what other matches, because I'm not exactly sure, we'll probably see it another time. It's lazy wrestling, so I'm going to give it 4.5 because it was an excellent match otherwise.
How about you, Terry?
I think 4, some of the same reasoning as Andrew. I think they had a decent pace for a large portion of the match, and then they kind of rushed it.
Yeah, I agree too. I'm giving it 4 jars. Dollar Dave, who has probably been overserved tonight. Just to be fair, says the match was shit. Sami Zayn sucks balls.
Well, he might have been overserved, but he was the one pouring, and he would say that sober in church in front of a pastor.
Well, and those are the kind of red hot opinions that you'll get when we're all together on the Ram Network, theramnetwork.com.
I got my candle.
Yeah,
Should've should have been Pop and Lock, but that's a fight for another day.
I'll admit that I listened to this one on my phone on the way home driving from Dave's house in the car earlier on Peacock.
Who do we feel like is going to chase Sammy first? Who do you think Sammy's first challenge is going to be? Bronson Reed?
Maybe one of the guys from Imperium? Do you think they would? I don't know. Are they tag team? I don't even know.
It's possible. I'm thinking they're pushing Bronson Reed. He won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, so maybe.
Oh,
Bronson,
he did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He did.
Drew Reviews thinks Chad Gable. That would be very interesting. I think that'd be a good matchup.
They'll make Gable the heel to do it though.
Yeah.
No, I don't want Gable to be the heel.
I think right out of the gate, Bronson Reed may be pushing for that.
Definitely.
All right, let's go see what we got next.
Oh,
Tag team turmoil.
The car
Ladder
crash.
match. It was a car crash. It was I didn't hate it.
No, it was just a car crash because there's so many people in it. It's a ladder match. It's WrestleMania. We've been doing tag team ladder matches at WrestleMania since 2000 when it was the Dudleys and Edge and Christian.
We did an Intercontinental ladder match in Dallas 8 years ago.
I think
And
it was about as good
too.
as a 12-person, 2-winner chaos fest could be.
I would agree with that because it was a lot. Go ahead, Amy. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. I was just going to say, I thought that it was timed good. Like I was, how sometimes they can go just too long and you're like, just somebody get the freaking belt.
Yeah.
I felt like, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, they got those belts pretty quickly. I mean, considering you still
Yeah, the first set of belts was early.
First set of belts really did kind of come early. Like you said, it was a car crash. They all tried to do different stuff. But I didn't think it lasted too long. I thought it was just perfect. Got those first belts down, and then it was really a fight for the last belts, in a sense.
Yeah, the R-Truth hot tag stuff was one of the best parts of the show. Drew Reviews, I agree.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
R-Truth, everything he does.
The man is gold, and he must be protected at all costs because, as Conrad would say, he is a national treasure.
Yeah,
and
without question.
That is not over exaggeration as far as Ron Killings is concerned.
And having the Miz have to explain to him that they're champions, they got to defend their belts, whatever might come. The other those shenanigans, I'm here for.
Well, and he
So,
pops everybody.
Mhm.
There's been that, that whole, like for instance, the Undertaker was unpoppable. R-Truth would pop the Undertaker if he was given the chance. He would break him. He
and
makes all of them corpse on TV. Can't tell you the number of times you've seen Damian Priest have to turn his head because he's laughing at whatever the hell R-Truth just did.
Mhm. It just dead face and everything, like,
Yeah,
just
and he doesn't
he is
break.
great.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
R-Truth doesn't break. It's everybody else. So
exactly.
he
well,
is a master at that craft.
well, I'm going to go ahead and call it that. I think that probably Finn Balor and JD McCullough will be going hard and heavy after The Miz and R-Truth, because I do believe Damian Priest is going to get the world title with the Money in the Bank cash in.
Yeah.
And Waller and Theory are going to have their hands full with everybody else in this picture.
Mhm. Definitely.
So, as far as this match goes, I'm going to give it 3. I'm giving it 3 jars, and what I'm really only taking off for is the psychology, because there was way too many times when everybody had the opportunity to grab the belts, but they just wanted to do some shit off the ladders
Mhm.
when all they had to do is reach over and grab the belts. And the psychology of why'd you do that? Why didn't you just grab the belt? That's what got to me. I will say I was highly impressed with which one of them went off the Kofi.
Kofi, when he went backwards,
Kofi
and
went
he
backwards
caught
off the
the
ladder
crowd.
over the
Yeah.
top rope. That was
Yeah.
pretty damn impressive.
Yeah.
Scary.
Kofi. And what do you got on this one, Andrew?
I got 3.5. Here's why. Because I disagree with you. There was an element of psychology, and that's when they realized the one leg on the ladder was broken. They threw it out of the ring and went and got a new one that was safe for all of them to use. So 3.5, because it isn't anything we haven't seen before. R-Truth wins. You get your feel-good moment. But again, it's just a car crash. And it got 12 people a payday on WrestleMania.
What you got, Amy?
I think a 3. I agree. I thought it moved really well. I like that they had the first belts out of the way and then everybody's kind of fighting for the second. But you're right, get the belts. That's the point of all of this, not to get your shit in. So I think a 3.
What about you, Terry?
I think a 3. It had a couple of those moments where somebody lost the ability to learn how to step with their feet once it hit a ladder. Those are always there. But like I said, it's probably about as good as you could expect from this format.
All right. And before we move to the next match, just to add a little levity, Mike Whitaker wants to know that if Amy could do one thing, would she put Brad through a table or hit him with a kendo stick or throw him off a Hell in a Cell?
Ooh. I think I'd like to see Brad fly. So we're going off the top of Hell in the Cell.
You're supposed to pick more than one. You don't abide by Brad's rules.
Oh, these are Mike's rules. So, I'm going to abide by what Mike says.
Brad Stanton. He's a good friend of the show.
Yes.
He's on the Kickout crew. They do those boys do a fine job entertaining the masses, and Amy does a fine job making Brad her personal bitch at times.
Brad was at WrestleMania tonight,
so was Coach Keith Morrison. Hey, everybody! Just got to my car leaving Mania.
Awesome.
Coach Keith went to WrestleMania with Chris North, who actually won tickets yesterday. Jumped on a plane from Kentucky and went to Philadelphia.
Tennessee. He's from Tennessee.
Tennessee.
You've been hanging with Brad too, Keith. You got to tell us, what was it like inside at the show? See if he'll tell us.
Oh, Keith was hanging with Brad all day.
Oh, God bless him. He must be a glutton for punishment. I call Brad bitchin' Brad in the plaid.
All right.
It was cold.
It was cold.
I bet
but we do love Brad because he participates at TNA too. Yes. And we certainly appreciate him.
Yes, yeah. I do love Brad too.
All right. The ladies 6-man tag match. Asuka, Kairi Sane, Dakota Kai, who consists of Damage Control, against the bestest, the glowiest, and the hottest in Jade Cargill, Naomi,
Oh.
and Bianca Belair.
I mean, I think like who was saying Jay and Jimmy could have been a Raw match.
Yeah.
I mean, this probably could have been on Raw too. It wasn't. It was fine, but I mean, it was to get them all on the card, and that's wonderful. But I mean, there wasn't. It was fine, but we all knew that Jade was going to win. We all knew that she was going to pin Dakota. Like we all kind of figured out that's probably what was going to happen. So, it was good for what it was supposed to be.
Okay.
Right?
How many jars does good for what it's supposed to be get?
I say 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
And when I say jars, if you're not familiar with the presentation,
Mason jar, baby.
actual jars of pond water. Meltzer has stars. I have jars. Coach Keith says this was his bathroom break.
Oh my God.
Hey,
Well-
after I saw Jade, I started to have a bathroom break too.
Oh Lordy. I think
Get
it
them-
just again, it wasn't, I mean, I don't want to say it wasn't spectacular. I mean, everybody did a good job. It was a good match, but they just recently all started to not like each other and go against each other. And again, it was just it was not as interesting as some of the other matches that had quite the backstory. So that's it.
Oscar spit in her face.
This story had plenty of backstory for me. There are 2 of the 4 women that have a chance in bed with me
I
on this
know.
planet on the same side. And the other ones, for those of you playing along at home, are Lucy Liu and Adele. In this particular case, I'm talking about Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. Do not listen to Amy. As smart and intelligent of a wrestling fan as she is, she has this completely wrong. This match was designed for one reason and one reason only, and that was Jade Cargill in front of 75,000 people so that they could see the future of WWE. And don't think for 1 minute that this wasn't a little fuck you to AEW. And they deserve it because they had her and didn't know what to do with her, and now Triple H has her, and I promise you he won't make any mistakes with her.
I don't think it's hyperbole when I say that losing Jade Cargill to WWE was a greater loss for AEW than losing Cody Rhodes to AEW. To WWE.
Definitely.
I
You
don't know
are
if I'd go
correct,
that
sir.
far, but it was a big loss.
Yeah. How many jars you give it?
I'll give it 3.5 because I am a fair wrestling fan, but this had a very specific intention. The women worked hard. They all gonna get a nice payday. That's fine. But this was to feature Jade. This is the first match too that Bianca Belair has been in a long time that wasn't about her. So that's an interesting dynamic that they have with this right now.
Yes. I look forward to the day we get to see them stand across the ring from each other. That's going to be a hell of a matchup.
Be very competitive.
What about you, Terry?
I think it's about what you'd expect. It had the reasons that Andrew said, but as far as judging it based on the match, I would say a 3. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing spectacular about it. You see the talent there, but as far as this match goes, I give it 3.
Huh. Well, I'm giving it 5. Jade Cargill. Enough said.
Jesus.
Pond water is easy.
That's right.
So 14 divided by 4. Yeah.
He knows what he likes. 3
Breaks the
2/3
curve.
is what that comes out to.
I'm
Pond
sure
water.
his math is going to be a 5-star. It's averaging a 5. No.
Yeah. There you go. Okay. This week's main event on SmackDown or Raw or Sunday Night Heat. Jay and Jimmy Uso.
Or in the
For the
Uso
first time.
backyard.
For the first time since the 5th time.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was a pretty solid match.
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it.
It just could
would've-
have been on SmackDown instead of your WrestleMania, right?
I mean, I'm sure that I feel like it. think the expectations were too high. We thought more was going to happen out of it. It was what it was, and
I think it's run.
it was Jay getting his comeuppance from being held. Jimmy's been screwing him all year.
I think
Mhm.
it's losing its purpose in the storyline. I mean, it was
I
just
mean,
there.
What have we accomplished? What did he accomplish?
Right.
What
If
did
it
he
Well,
is
so
accomplish?
if it's the real blow off and they're going to move Jay on, then good, But this
But
wasn't even a blow off style match in terms of it wasn't last man standing or a steel
right.
Right.
cage or
but Jay
this is
moved
straight
on.
straight
Jay
up
had already
wrestling
moved
match.
on. It's Jimmy that kept screwing with him.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
And
but
the
like
I'm saying
bloodline,
if creative is moving on is what I
so.
mean.
Does
Jay
that
is
by
right.
Jay beating Jimmy?
Right.
Does they decide now that we're going to leave Jay alone?
probably not.
Yeah, we'll see.
I guess
It
it
wasn't
depends on where
portrayed that way.
the bloodline goes. Eventually if you see a split between Rock and Roman, like how does that family move? So I mean, I'm with you all. I'm glad maybe if this is what we're doing to kind of move on, but Jay and Jimmy being the focus of the bloodline, and with Sami Zayn and all that stuff, like that's all. Like you said, we've moved on from that. Now we've got The Rock involved and Roman, and we're fight. So I mean, this is they needed to have wrapped this up before. I think.
Yeah. Uh, I'm going to agree with the Drew reviews of way too many super kicks and tennis shoe super kicks. They turned me off, so I'm giving it 3 jars. Andrew,
Oh, okay. I was just waiting on you. I think it was a basic wrestling match. It was an USO wrestling match. It was a super kick fest. Had a nice clean finish. Because of the clean finish, I'm going to do 3 stars because I think we all suspected that Solo would somehow get involved. And that didn't happen. So I'm going to give it 3 stars based on the clean finish alone.
how about you, Amy?
I agree with Andrew. I think a 3. I did like the vignette that they did beforehand where they're talking about, growing up and being the same. I'm not my brother's keeper. I really thought that that was a great way to kind of help uh remind us of what was going on with the story, because like you said, we've seen them at each other for several times. So I give it a 3 also. I don't know if this is good or not. Dave's on the phone. Hope everything's okay. Terry, what do you think?
I'm also going to do a 3. It's kind of like, I don't know what other match I was talking about, but in a vacuum, I think this match was a 3. As far as storyline goes, I'm like, it's uneventful.
Mm-hmm.
Very anticlimactic considering when you think about it, Jimmy Uso screwed Jey Uso, who had Roman beat at SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had him beat for the world title. And Jimmy does the reveal in the sweatshirt hoodie, that it's him after they had seemingly, been fine, tag team champions, etc., which is why we had the vacation in the first place of the title, vacating of the titles. So, or no, it was Judgment Day. Never mind. But they didn't vacate the titles. Never mind. They lost them. But anyway, you thought they were fine, and then you see the screw job, and then they kind of go into this, and there's no payoff in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
This was a match, but there was no payoff. It almost is like Owen and Brett at Mania 10. It was the first of what you would see of many down the line, and maybe that's the case here. I don't know.
And is Dave muted?
You're muted, Dave. Dave, you're muted.
Sorry, we're having a little problem here at the house.
Yeah.
I may have to dip out for just a second to go take care of it. Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. Open the show right out of the gate.
Rhea Ripley's entrance was phenomenal. Like that was a great way to start the show. Her faces, her facials, her singing along with the song, the band being there, like that was a great way to start the show. But again, I think we all thought Rhea's going to win. There's no reason for Becky to win. It doesn't gain her anything. So I don't know. Again, I think it was a solid match, but I felt like I knew who was going to win.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. I feel like maybe I'm. It's not a
There was
bad
no
thing.
drama to it. I never one time felt like Becky Lynch was going to win that match.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Felt like yeah, and I mean, so for me, it's a 3-star match. I mean, 3-jar match.
Yeah.
It was good work. I think Mommy shined. I did never for a minute thought that she was in danger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
me neither.
that's what I was gonna say. I didn't think that Becky ever put Rhea in enough jeopardy to
Mhm.
justify, And again, I asked the question on the Zoom and said, "Look, this is an opening match, but this is for the Women's World Championship." Because these women are capable of main eventing WrestleMania. We've seen it, but they are the pace setter tonight. Looking at what could have been the pace setter, this may have been the best option because the Maestro Triple H in his booking, well, we were up and we were down, and we were up and we were down, and it actually worked because then you have the emotional capacity for the end match, which most people are going to be disappointed with, which we'll get to, but I thought this one was 4 jars simply because I very much love the women, love the interest, love the work, but it wasn't a banger over the top like we've seen in the past from either one of them.
Mhm.
I even made the comment earlier that I made the comment during when I saw that they started that, I said, "Oh, this is a nod to Eric Bischoff. They're opening the show with the cruiserweights."
You definitely said that because I think I told you to stop. Just stop.
I loved it, but I love Rhea Ripley. I mean, she could have just come out and set crisscross applesauce in the middle of the ring and talk trash, and I've been there for it. She's such a star.
Well, this is what I would say, and I don't want to pontificate too long, but this is what I would say that they're doing right with the women's division in WWE, and maybe AEW needs to take notes. When you look at Jade Cargill, you look at Bianca Belair, you look at Rhea Ripley, you look at Becky Lynch, what you see is presence. All of these women have a presence about them, the way they carry them, the way they talk, the way they move in the ring. That's something you can't teach, but you can find it. And
Mhm.
that's what WWE has successfully done over and again is they find the it factor because it's not something you can ever create. And right now they've got a stacked talent roster where these women, we could have a show hour and a half, even 2 hours long every week of women's wrestling in the WWE, and it would not get boring.
Mhm.
Not even a little bit. Amy, where you at?
I mean, I think it was. I'd probably give it 3.5. I thought it was a good match. I loved Rhea's entry. They were trying to. I mean, it was a. Both are very hard hitting. Both were very focused. Um, and it was a great way to start the pay per view. So I'll give it a 3.5.
Okay, how about you, Terry?
I was debating 3.5 and 4. I listened to all the stuff that you guys said, and like Andrew said, both of these women really have presence. And I'm going to give it a 4 because I'm going to give an extra half because I give an extra half anytime I get to see Becky flying around.
All right.
We all have our things. Carrie's just redheads, in case you didn't listen to our last episode of TNA Top 10.
And the main event. We had the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins with the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes fighting for a fair chance against the Tribal Chief tomorrow night, against the final boss, The Rock, and the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. And because they came out victorious, tomorrow night it's Bloodline Rules, which puts Cody Rhodes firmly behind the 8 ball. He's got a hell of a mountain to climb tomorrow night. Rock's already shown how he can throw his weight around. We talked about it earlier that he told the referee, if you count, I'm going to fire you. If you disqualify us, I'm going to fire you. it doesn't come off as chicken shit when he does it. When Vince would do that as the crooked authority figure, when Vince would throw his weight around like that, you thought he was just kind of being a bitch. When The Rock does it, you feel
What
like
is going on, everyone? Welcome back, and I appreciate all the comments from my last video.
Sorry. I don't know if
Oh.
y'all can hear that. But that was me. Very, very sorry. I hit a wrong button. Sorry.
Am I boring you, Amy?
No, I was trying to go onto our YouTube and just see if it was, what it was looking like. And
Didn't sound like our show.
I know, because I hit the wrong button. I said, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm not going to do nothing. Don't laugh at me, Keith.
All right, Andrew, tell us what you got on this one.
5 jars. Here's why. Great action, great story, great facials, great selling, and they tied it together 365 days later approximately with the same exact shot. Victorious Roman in the ramp, Cody in the ring dejected. Everything is set for tomorrow night. This did exactly what it was supposed to do. So when Cody conquers Roman in some way tomorrow night, it's the big deal. And that is what they're looking to launch the next year of professional wrestling with. 5 jars all the way.
Amy?
I do want to say, Drew Reviews, he's asking if we're fans of TNA. Yes, we love all wrestling. So I just want to let him know that, or her. I don't want to assume. I give it a 4.5. Cash Wheeler and FTR were not in it, so I cannot give it a 5. But I
She
really
just talked out of both sides of her ass.
Oh,
We love
She certainly
TNA.
did.
We love all wrestling, and
we do.
but however, since FTR wasn't in this match,
I can't give it a 5. No,
Amy's
4.5.
on her shit again.
Hey, you all. I mean, my God, I sat here and watched y'all. Listen to you all talk nicely about Jade Cargill and Bianca and Rhea. I can mention Cash Wheeler one time.
Okay.
I really liked how there were times when I feel like we all kind of felt like the best case scenario for a underdog like Cody is to lose this particular match and for him to take the pin going into tomorrow night. But I really do think there were a few cases where I was like, Cody and Seth are going to win. Like, they really did have me convinced of that. I like that Seth did not turn on him. I'm not a big fan of that all the time. I like that, it just happened the way it was. And so, but I give it a 4.5. I did like it. I think it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out tomorrow. I think Triple H will get involved because of The Rock doing some of the things that he's doing about you can't count us out, you can't do this. I think Triple H gets involved because he has said a few things about, Rock needs to know his role and those kind of, he has said those things. So I think we do end up getting something from Triple H tomorrow. So it should be interesting. Very interesting.
Terry?
I'm going to do a little math for you. First off, for its place that we know it has in the whole story, I give it a 5 because that's really why it happened tonight. As a match itself in a vacuum, probably a 4, so give me a 4.5.
Okay. And I'm with Andrew. I'm going to give it a 5 because it did what it was supposed to do. I agree with Amy that there was times you thought they were going to go a different direction, that the good guys were going to win. But it set the plate for tomorrow night. It did exactly what it needed to do. Even though it comes off like it was predictable, it wasn't so predictable. I think the final boss character was elevated to another level through this match tonight. I can't help but think that the People's Champion belt is going to about half-ass piss Roman off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and maybe The Rock will question that because The Rock took a spear. And even though Seth saved Cody. That was perfect timing. They timed that right there because Cody didn't just get loose. Seth saved him.
Mm-hmm.
Seth didn't let him take it. I think at that level of storytelling, I think there was a lot that came out of this match.
Yep.
And
I want to add to that just a minute, Dave. I think if you'll let me, the idea that The Rock gets the pin instead of Roman, big deal.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't a mistake that The Rock gets the pin. Any more than it's a mistake that you're calling him the final boss and you're calling Roman the tribal chief. You're automatically putting those two things in conflict because they're the same thing and we're talking about two different people.
Exactly.
And then the whole Seth thing works as well because he did show his true character and like I said, it was a great storytelling device because if Roman loses the title, The Rock's not the one that's taken the pinfall, and he beat Cody Rhodes, which
Mm-hmm.
allows you when he gets back from his next movie to set up SummerSlam, presumably.
I
Yes.
agree.
Look at the placement of the guys in the picture. Cody and The
Yeah.
Rock are up top in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
You make a
And
good point there.
And that's not an accident either.
So overall, night one comes in just at four jars. It was a great night's entertainment. Would have been a bargain at twice the price. WWE is hitting on all cylinders.
Definitely.
And I, for one, cannot wait to watch night two.
Definitely. Hey, I've got something, and I want everyone in the chat too. They can answer. Okay. I've got an Amy Ask question. Do y'all want to answer it?
Come on with it.
Do it.
All right, guys. In the chat, we want to see it. What is your favorite board game?
Are we just asking the chat, or are we supposed to?
I'm asking you and the
Okay.
chat. The chat's still with us. I want them to tell me. Uno. Oh, I like it. Okay.
Okay. It's cards.
Okay.
But
I would have called that a card game, but okay. No offense to whoever answered Uno.
I always like the game of life.
Y'all go
Yep.
first. I'm going to get super nerdy.
I like loading that car up. I
Oh,
like,
God.
like loading that car up. You got married, you started putting kids in the back seat of that car. You got to drive over my favorite part was getting to drive over the mountain and spinning that damn wheel. And if you spun it too hard, it popped off the axis. And then your sister called you a dumbass. And then you told your mom that your sister called you a dumbass. And then you got in trouble for saying ass and she didn't. So come to think of it, fuck life. I'm into Clue. Clue was my favorite board game.
I like all those board games.
Clue was very good. It was Colonel Mustard in the library with the candlestick.
Heck yeah.
Got banned from Clue in college. We'll tell that story some other time.
All right.
How do you get banned from Clue? What do you mean you get banned from Clue?
It'll take way too long for tonight.
I always figured it was Miss Peacock in the closet with a candlestick. Hey, now.
Well, could have been her too.
That was part of the reason we got banned, Dave.
Okay. I like Battleship. That's a good one. We've got Clue, Battleship.
What about Risk? I always like that one.
That's a good one.
Risk, the game of global conquering.
Yes.
Monopoly. And if you play drunk Monopoly, it's even better because shit hits the fan when you start bankrupting people.
How is a drunk Monopoly different? You just don't care? Like,
well, people people get hostile a lot faster when the libations are flowing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dave, did you have the world-class board game? Drew is asking. I thought you did. Was that not you?
I think my brother actually had it. I can't honestly remember playing it. I wish I had it. I wish I still had it in the box. They go for a couple $100 if you can find them.
What would a world-class board game? What would that even be?
There'd be a lot of Von Erichs on it.
I think it was a card. I think it was just a card game that you would play hold against hold.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, Amy. I'm sure it was some kind of role playing type game.
Like, oh, interesting.
I had a baseball one. It was probably similar to that. You roll the dice and look at the card to see what happened.
I know that you got Kerry Von Erich putting the claw on the one man gang on the box.
Oh my god.
Oh, okay. I like the
The
game.
worst Von Erich and the one and the claw. I mean, come on.
Well, that's a hot opinion.
We're talking about WrestleMania.
Kerry was the worst of the Von Erichs.
Well,
Oh hell,
know,
I gotta go to
he
bed,
is-
y'all. We ain't
he-
starting that. No.
he is tonight.
He is tonight. Fair enough.
I like the game's categories. Did y'all ever play that?
Oh, that was a fun one where if you got
Yeah.
the same thing, you had to scratch it off the list.
Yeah, but I like where you had to roll the dice, so you got a letter,
Yep.
and then your paper had a list, like you had to add, like an animal, a food, a movie, and you had to come up with something that started with that letter. I thought that
But-
was always kind of fun.
But I got that right, Amy? You could only keep the ones you got. Like if we had the same answer, we had to scratch them off.
I think so.
Yeah,
I don't
think that's-
remember. I don't. I think so. Oh Lord, Drew, don't start them, please. Don't. I need to go to bed. Do not start.
I did see
Dave.
Mike wrestle, and he should have never beat Jake Roberts clean, but that's a whole nother argument. So
Maybe we need a show for the Ram Network where Andrew shits on legendary wrestling families.
Oh Lord.
I'll be happy to. The Hart family, the Von Erich
Oh
family.
goodness.
The best Hart was Owen, second by Anvil. After that, they all suck.
Yeah.
Second by
That's
the
for-
anvil.
That's for Justin. Oh, on TNA Top 10, we are not Bret Hart guys. We are Jim the Anvil Neidhart guys. And that's how this
Really?
works. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I can
Maybe
see
didn't know
Andrew's,
that.
He
I
is.
can see
I
Andrew's
don't know
top,
that I volunteered for that.
Andrew's
Yeah.
top 10 hearts: Owen, Stu, Bruce,
Helen.
I'll put
Family
Helen,
Dog,
I'd put
Helen's
Helen before I
sister-in-law.
put Bret Hart.
Jimmy.
Dollar Bill Dave will put the dog. Which one does he
TJ,
like?
He's an in-law. TJ Wilson. Put him on there.
No, Dave likes what was Bulldog's wife's name? Diana.
Diana
Mary
Hart
Hart.
He's
Smith.
hot for
Yeah.
Diana.
Yeah.
Dollar Bill Dave, who is on the
Mary
Red
Hart,
Network.
Gary Hart.
Very
Yeah, there'd be a
Hart.
lot more hearts before Uncle Brett made the list. That's for
Mary
sure.
Heart Attack. Heart Attack came in right above Brett.
Goodness
Kevin Hart.
Yeah, Kevin Hart.
Dude, we
Woo!
could do this. We just have to find the time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're gonna have shitting on Bret Hart on the Ram Network.
Well, there's plenty of us that would do it. Poor Justin's outnumbered.
Justin,
That's true. It probably would be a weekly series. Y'all would come up with enough every
we're just gonna
week.
come up with something, and we'll get it. We'll get Justin in there, and we'll just throw up a graphic that it's an intervention, and we'll go after him hard and heavy about Brett till we make him cry.
Oh,
Well, you know, he wouldn't shut up. He was strutting around like a damn Bantam Rooster because they released that stupid list of top wrestlers in WWE, and Bret Hart was number one. That's not true. Shut up. That ain't even close.
Yeah, Brett, you're number one. Take this. I'm not going to pay you this contract that I gave you. Go to WCW and make you some money. And then he's like, ding dong, the bitch is gone. We got rid of him. How about that?
Yeah.
All
yeah,
right.
exactly.
This has gone somewhere we didn't need it to go, but we're having fun.
that's right.
Bret Hart was a fine wrestler. I'm just having fun.
Sorry, he was not. Well, he was, but he's a terrible post wrestler because
If he's 25% as good as he says he is.
he's ruined his own legacy too, and that's the thing that bothers me most is he forgets that fans remember these things, and he just goes out and shits on everything about the wrestling business and how this didn't work and this guy sucked and this one did this and this one did that. Well, we all liked you before you wrote your book, dickhead, and before you started talking in every interview about how Goldberg hurt. We get it. Goldberg hurt you. We get that. He ended your career. He caused you to have a stroke. But, you know, it was an accident. He didn't deliberately kick
I'm not
your
sure
head
that he
off
didn't do it
into
to
the
himself.
fourth row.
Yeah, there's that thought process.
When he
'cause
put
of
the
those-
figure four on him
Yeah.
around the ring post, he hit his head on the ground pretty
He
hard.
did.
That's true, too. Yeah, yeah. But
All this
anyway,
from what's your favorite board game?
Yeah. Look what
yeah,
you
really.
started.
That's
We got
funny.
bored with Amy's questions. What happened?
there's some, I bet you Terry's is something of Catan or whatever, isn't it?
No.
So join
No.
us again for Amy. Amy ain't asking again.
Not asking this group.
Terry
Lord.
didn't answer his question. Hold on, Dave. We got to go.
Oh, now you're setting me up here. You've never heard of it, but If you have heard of it, you probably like it. It's called Suro, Tsuro. It's a quick game. You can play in like 5 minutes.
Our family bear.
Up to 4 people.
I'm
And,
sorry, that was
Stu's bedpost goat.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. So sorry, Terry.
Terry
anyway.
tried to talk about
No,
his game.
we
We're
need to
talking
listen
about
to
the
Terry.
No, there's not much to say other than it's a really pretty game. It's really easy to play. The rules are really simple. You can play a game in 5 minutes, and you can play 20 games or something.
Is
So
it
you don't. It's not like Monopoly where you're like, "Are we ever going to finish this game?" You know, and that kind of.
right? Do you play it a lot?
I don't play board games a lot, but I've played it a lot when I've played board games.
Damn right,
I
Drew.
gotcha.
Stu was a badass.
It's probably over here in the closet. I don't know.
You have to bring that to Top Guy Weekend.
Got
We all need
anything
to
for the
play.
rhino?
Or just leave it in
Uh-oh.
Huntsville where it is, and when y'all come down here,
Yes, you should definitely do that. I'm sorry, Coach Key said what was the Bear's name? Ted. Just said he was better than Bret Hart. I'm sorry, I had to laugh.
All
Lord
right,
help
y'all.
us.
We want to thank y'all for popping on for this Ram Network free view. Check us out at theramnetwork.com. You can also listen to the TNA Top 10. And that's not behind the paywall. TNA Top 10, the Filter Free Podcast, Talking Wrestling with Palmwater Dave. Those are the 3 shows featured. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us tonight after a long night of wrestling. Hope you'll be back with us again tomorrow. I really expect big things tomorrow. We're probably all going to be so wired up that we're going to want to talk wrestling until the wee hours of the morning.
Yes.
For Andrew Hermes, for Terry Weaver, for the First Lady of the Arn Anderson Fan Club, Amy Vaughn, I'm Palmwater Dave, and thank you so much, and we are out of here.